Welcome back, dear friends. We spend our existence chasing tomorrow, hoping the future holds greater promise, more abundance, more tranquility. Yet there's a shadow hovering over this pursuit, one we refuse to confront directly. It's the shadow of passing time. It's that precise instant each morning before the mirror when we notice a fresh line across our face, a weariness that lingers despite a full night's rest, a joint that protests a bit louder. We all carry this deep-seated, unspoken fear of no longer being who we once were. We all wish to live extensively. This is the ultimate contradiction. Absolutely nobody, not a single person, desires to grow elderly. However, I'll share something vital with you today. This anxiety isn't inevitable destiny. Growing older isn't a catastrophe unless we choose to remain on the dock watching the vessel depart. To achieve genuine happiness, we sometimes need the bravery to embrace what causes discomfort. We must traverse the truth to discover illumination. Today, we won't deceive ourselves. We won't tell ourselves comforting tales to ease our minds. Together, we'll immerse ourselves in the reality of our human experience through 6 harsh truths, 6 foundational principles you must not only grasp, but integrate deeply within your being to unlock that serenity you desperately seek. What I'm about to reveal isn't pessimistic, quite the opposite. It's the key to your liberation, because lasting happiness cannot be built upon denial. Denial is a fragile barrier that inevitably crumbles. Truth, however, is solid ground, sometimes cold, but upon which we can construct a sturdy home that withstands winter storms. First truth, the body becomes an unavoidable limitation. Let's begin with the first reality, the one touching us most intimately concerning our physical shell. The body transforms into an inevitable constraint, and denying this creates unnecessary suffering. We inhabit a society obsessed with imagery, one glorifying performance, speed, firm skin, bright eyes. We're sold the notion that with sufficient exercise, proper nutrition, adequate skincare, we can freeze time. It's a beautiful lie, but it remains a lie. The biological reality is unforgiving. Our cells age, our muscles lose their explosiveness, our recovery becomes slower. Why is this brutal? Because our identity has been constructed since adolescence upon our capabilities. I'm the one who runs fast. I'm the one who works endless hours. I'm the one who attracts. Then suddenly the body says no. The body enforces boundaries. The true sorrow of aging doesn't stem from the changing body. It originates from the mind refusing this transformation. It's the gap between what I can accomplish and what I still wish to accomplish that creates misery. It's an internal civil conflict. You battle yourself every morning. You arise angry at that aching knee, that stiff back. You treat your own body as an adversary, a betrayer abandoning you. But imagine momentarily what would happen if you declared a truce, if you accepted that this body, this old traveling companion, deserves to be tired. It's carried you for decades. It's healed your wounds, digested your excesses, run, loved, trembled. Accepting the body becomes a constraint isn't resigning to immobility, it's changing strategy. It's shifting from performance to kindness. It's stopping the machines forcing to begin listening to it. Happiness beyond a certain age no longer resides in physical achievement, but in sensory harmony. Feeling sunshine on your skin, walking at your rhythm, savoring a meal without rushing. When you stop denying your body's aging, you stop suffering from the image you're losing, you gain tremendous energy, the energy you wasted trying to appear 20 years younger. This energy you can now invest elsewhere. Accepting bodily constraint is the first step toward liberating the mind. Second truth, social death kills the brain before physical death. This brings us directly to our second reality, perhaps the most dangerous if ignored. Social death destroys the brain well before biological death stops the heart. We are beings of connection. As an ethologist, I've devoted my life observing how living beings interact. A solitary human isn't a complete human. Our brain is sculpted by others' gazes, others' words. When we're young, social connection is imposed. School, work, colleagues, children we must raise. The world comes seeking us. We're solicited, sometimes excessively. We dream of calm solitude. But beware what you wish for, because aging often brings this calm brutally in silence's form. Retirement arrives, children leave to build their lives, colleagues disappear, and insidiously the phone rings less frequently. Here unfolds the drama. If you're not careful, your world shrinks. You begin thinking you no longer understand this era, that youth speaks too quickly, that technology is too complicated, so you withdraw, you lock yourself in your inner fortress. You think you're protecting yourself from the world's noise, but actually you're cutting yourself from life's very source. Accept this harsh reality. If you don't make constant, voluntary, sometimes exhausting effort to reach toward others, you'll die internally. The brain is like a muscle. If it's not stimulated by interaction, by conversation surprise, by the necessity of decoding another's face, it atrophies. Melancholy settles in. We ruminate, we circle within our own memories. To live happily while aging, you must fight against this centrifugal force pushing us toward isolation. You must provoke encounters. This demands humility. You must accept no longer being attention's center. You must accept approaching people who don't necessarily resemble us. You must dare say, I need you. Happiness in old age is inseparable from our attachment's quality. It's not friends' quantity that matters, it's exchange's depth. Having someone to tell your day to, someone who cares if you slept well, this maintains the brain alert. This is the resilience tutor. We need a tutor to grow when we're children, but we need a tutor to remain standing when we age. Accept that you cannot live in self-sufficiency. Chosen solitude is luxury. Endured solitude is poison. Break the ice. Speak to your neighbors. Join associations. Return to see the world. The world won't come seeking you anymore. It's your turn to knock on its door. This is a demanding truth, I know. It requires courage when feeling slightly more fragile, slightly more invisible, but it's the price for keeping the light burning inside. Third truth, the past is not a fixed refuge, and it's by keeping this light burning that we can illuminate our own story, which leads us to the third harsh truth. The past isn't a frozen refuge, but a story we must continuously recompose to accept it. We often hear elderly people say things were better before. We take refuge in nostalgia. We idealize our youth, polish our memories like trophies on a mantle, or conversely, we're haunted by regrets, by remorse. The past becomes a burden, a backpack filled with stones we drag painfully. The brutal truth is that the past, as you believe you remember, it doesn't exist. Memory isn't a faithful hard drive. Memory is permanent reconstruction. Each time you evoke a memory, you modify it slightly according to your current emotion. If you're sad today, your past will seem tragic. If you're peaceful, your past will seem like a beautiful lesson. To live happily, you must accept reworking your story. It's not about lying, it's about giving meaning. Many people age in bitterness because they remain stuck on painful chapters. They define themselves by their failures, by betrayals they suffered 30 years ago. They're prisoners of a victim's narrative. But you have the power to change the narrative. You're the scriptwriter of your own life until the final minute. Looking at your past with kindness means telling yourself, yes, I suffered, yes, I made mistakes, but all this led me here, all this forged the person I am. This is what I call the wonderful misfortune, transforming mud into gold, accepting we cannot change facts, but we can change the color we give them. This is active work. You must sort, you must forgive, not to please others, but to free yourself. Forgive life for not being perfect. Forgive yourself for not being a hero every day. This is recomposing your story. It's making peace with the child you were, with the adult you've been, so that the elder you're becoming can breathe peacefully. Don't let your past become a prison. Make it a library where you enjoy strolling, but from which you keep the key to exit and live in the present. Fourth truth, stopping activity attacks your neuroplasticity. Let's continue our exploration, my friends. We've discussed the body, social connection, and memory. But there's a more insidious danger lurking at age's turning point. A soft, deadly little tune that society plays us on repeat. The idea of well-deserved rest. This brings us to the fourth brutal truth. Stopping activity and projects is a direct assault against your neuroplasticity. We've been sold retirement as a grand vacation. We work hard for 40 years with this carrot at the stick's end. Soon I'll do nothing. Soon I can finally rest. And when this moment arrives, for many, it's the void, the vertigo. Why? Because the human brain isn't programmed for nothingness. The brain is a problem-solving organ. It's made to anticipate, to plan, to learn. The instant you stop learning, you begin dying. This is biological. Neuroplasticity, this incredible capacity our neurons have to create new connections, doesn't stop at 60 or 80 years. It only stops if we stop using it. This is brutal because it contradicts our comfort desire. It's comfortable sitting in your armchair, watching television. It's comfortable staying in routine, doing the same crosswords, seeing the same people, eating the same meals. It's comfortable, but it's lethal for the spirit. Boredom is toxic stress for the aging brain. When there are no more challenges, no more projects, cognitive functions decline at a frightening speed. You think you're resting, but actually you're rusting. To live happily, you must accept this demanding truth. Retirement shouldn't be a withdrawal from life, but an activity reinvention. You must replace professional constraint with chosen constraint, passionate constraint. You must have a project no matter which, learning a new language, gardening, writing your memoirs, helping an association, building a model, whatever. What matters is attention toward a goal. What matters is rising in the morning, having something to do, something requiring your effort. Effort is the brain's vitamin. It's when confronting the difficulty of learning something new that we feel alive. Look at artists, orchestra conductors, writers. They never truly retire. They continue creating until the end. Why? Because creation keeps them alive. You don't need to be Picasso to be a creator. Creating simply means making something exist that wasn't there before. A cake, a knitting, a letter, a smile. Don't fall into the what's the point trap. What's the point of starting piano at 70? But for the pleasure of playing, for the joy of feeling your fingers become more agile, for the pride of mastering a piece. Absence of projects is the open door to depression. Always keep a horizon before you. As long as there's a project, there's future. And as long as there's future, aging isn't an ending, it's a continuation. Fifth truth, resilience means living differently, not becoming young again. But careful, having projects doesn't mean trying to become who you were at 30. And here lies the fifth truth, one touching my philosophy's heart. Resilience doesn't mean becoming young again, but learning to live differently with time's tear. The word resilience is often misunderstood. We imagine it's bouncing back, returning to the initial state like elastic. But when we experience trauma or simply times wear, we never return to the initial state. We never become like before again. Whoever seeks to recover their lost youth runs after a phantom. They exhaust themselves in an impossible quest. This is youthfulness syndrome. This pathetic will to dress like an adolescent, speak like an adolescent, deny accumulated experience to mimic innocence. True resilience is something else. It's knitting. It's taking the broken threads of our life, the worn threads, the threads of different colors, and making a new garment. Perhaps this garment will be less smooth, less brilliant than our youth's. It will have knots, snags, scars, but it will be unique. It will have a texture, a thickness that youth doesn't possess. Accepting time's tear means accepting we are metamorphosed beings. We've lost certain things, it's undeniable. We've lost speed, carefreeness, perhaps physical beauty according to magazine standards. This is a mourning to accomplish. We must weep what we've lost to welcome what we've gained. And what have we gained? Vision, depth of field, the capacity to relativize. When we're young, every problem is a mountain. When we've lived, we know mountains are often just hills. We know sorrows pass. We know joys return. This wisdom, this capacity to absorb shocks without collapsing, that's age's resilience. It's learning to navigate with a boat that's perhaps slightly slower, but holds the sea much better in storms. Don't seek to erase your wrinkles. They're the geographical map of your emotions, your laughter, your tears. They tell what you've lived. Living happily means wearing your age not as a burden, but as armor, patinated by battle's noble armor. It's telling the world, I'm no longer new, but I'm real. Sixth, truth. Your value resides in transmission and connection. Finally, we arrive at the sixth and final truth, the one giving meaning to all the other five, the one answering the existential question, what's my purpose now? Your value no longer resides in performance or action, but in transmission and connection. In our life's first part, we're defined by doing. I do studies, I do career, I make money, I make children. We're in conquest. We want to prove our value through our results. And this is normal, it's construction's vital energy. But a moment arrives when this performance logic exhausts itself. We no longer climb ladders, we no longer run as fast. If you continue measuring your value by performance standards, you'll feel useless. You'll feel like an obsolete tool left in the garage's back. Here you must operate the most fundamental shift. You must pass from conquest logic to gift logic. Your role changes. You're no longer the main actor occupying the stage's front, drawing the sword. You become the sage, the guide, the ferryman. Your value is what you can transmit. And I'm not only speaking of transmitting financial patrimony, I'm speaking of transmitting a story, values, listening. Young generations are lost in a complex, anxiety-producing, immediate world. They desperately need landmarks. They need to see that one can traverse ordeals and remain standing. You're living proof that survival is possible. Your social utility is being the guardian of long time. It's recounting how it was before, not to say it was better, but to give roots to those who only have wings. It's offering a patient ear that patience youth doesn't yet have. Being a grandparent, for example, or being a benevolent elder in your neighborhood, this is a capital function. It's society's cement. Never underestimate the power of a told story, of advice given with gentleness, of a reassuring presence. Here resides your new power, no longer in your arm's strength, but in your soul's strength. Accepting we're no longer in performance means freeing yourself from result pressure. You no longer have anything to prove to anyone, you have everything to share. This is an extraordinary freedom. You can finally be yourself without mask, without artifice. You can love freely, give without expecting immediate returns. This is life's twilight beauty, a light less dazzling than noon's, but warmer, more golden, more enveloping. Conclusion: the path to authentic happiness. These 6 truths may seem harsh: the constraining body, the risk of isolation, the path to recompose, effort's necessity, youth's mourning, role change. Yes, this is a steep path, but it's the only path leading to the summit where the view is clear. If you refuse these truths, you'll remain in denial's valley, in bitterness's fog. If you accept them, if you embrace them, you'll discover it's possible to live happily, intensely happily until the final breath. Aging isn't punishment, it's our development's ultimate stage. It's the moment when we become fully human, stripped of illusions, ready to go to what's essential. The essential is love, the essential is connection, the essential is life circulating, despite everything, thanks to everything. So don't be afraid. Look your age in the face, smile at it, and tell it, I accept you and I'll make you a work of art. My friends, we've traversed these truths together. I hope they resonate within you, not as sentences, but as invitations, invitations to live more authentically, more powerfully. If this reflection touched you, if it lit a small light in your mind, don't keep this to yourself. It's by sharing these ideas that we build a more resilient, more human community. I invite you from my heart's depths to subscribe to this channel. It's not just a click, it's a commitment to continue this journey together, to explore our psychology's meanders to live better. Activate the bell to miss nothing of our upcoming conversations, and especially share this video with someone who needs to hear these words today. Someone afraid of aging, someone feeling alone. Be that connection, be that ferryman. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. Take care of yourself and see you very soon.